Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I mean, they're still the best. They're still the champs. Everyone wants to crown the Celtics the champions, but that's not the way it works. They got to beat them. And, they got to get through the East, which isn't going to be fun to begin with. Everyone thinks it's so automatic.
If it's just Boris is kind of losing his power, if whatever his tactics have been, yeah, move on.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
We talked about the Ohtani story. This interpreter, Ipe, clearly was a problem gambler. I mean, he would be identified as that and beyond. Now, there are a lot of others that are out there.
The timing didn't seem great. It seemed slightly tone deaf in terms of, maybe now isn't the time to say it. But the sentiment itself, you have to agree with. There's only so much a sports betting company can do, right?
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia 76ers, who are the second best team in this Eastern Conference by a mile when Joel Embiid is healthy. And that's just what they are. So now, if Giannis isn't available, the Bucks would be dogs in the series.
He ain't sleeping on that air mattress anymore. He's got a regular king-size bed, a posturepedic, whatever they call it, a Sealy's, whatever they do, those things. He ready to roll. Denominating tonight.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Ferrall has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast.
It's Ferrall Coast to Coast in the biggest way possible right here on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. Great to have you with us on a Monday. Carver High in for Scotty. The Prime Minister will be with me momentarily here as we have a very busy Monday for you. Of course, tons of NBA and NHL playoff action from the weekend. We have more games tonight that we have to get to. We have a full baseball slate tonight. We have a game this afternoon also. In the Bronx between the Yankees and the A's. And we have the golf, which I think that me and Cam have already spent more time taking whacks at Tom Hoagie than talking about how great Scotty Scheffler is. So we will continue to do that as we move along this afternoon as well. Time always for the birthday roll call. All right, let's go. Marshawn Lynch in at 38 today. Kaká at 42. Ken Dorsey at 43. Off to Cleveland now for Ken. Scott Fields is 51. Roger Jones, 55. Bobby Olive, 55. Vernell Bimbo Coles at 56. Mike Buck is 57. Peter Zezel, 59. Jeff Hostetler at 63. New York football giant legend. And Spencer Haywood at 75 here today. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. All right, we have a lot to do today, of course, as always, on a Monday. We'll have Coach Young later on with the Lion's Share. We've got Davis Maddock in the mix today, as always. We have Adam Kaplan in the final hour today, which will be NFL Draft is Thursday night, which is very exciting. We have Smiley Kaufman today as well, moving over from Tuesday after Scotty Scheffler wins again this morning at the finished up RBC Heritage. So a very busy Monday show, and along with me for it, again, is the Prime Minister, Cam Stewart, here on a Monday with me. Hi, Cam. How you doing?
Pretty good, Carver. Pretty good. Just a shout out to you and K-Stu for that parlay you guys put together with Nelly Korda and Scotty Scheffler. People not paying attention. Nelly Korda, she's the Scotty Scheffler on the female tour. Haven't done this like Annika Sorenstam style. Like, this is wild. Like, we're getting these stories in golf, Carver, that are actually historic, that kind of a little bit under the radar, in my opinion, here. But good on you for that parlay with Scheffler and Korda. Well done.
I wish I could take the credit, but that was a straight. We'll give Keith the credit for that one. Keith came on last week, put the idea in everyone's head. Let's take Scotty. Let's take Nelly. 30-1 put them together. I said, hey, that sounds like a good fallback if Scotty ends up winning this week. I wasn't going to play him for anything else. And sure enough, Cam, the funny part is that he's just steamrolling everyone every week now, right?
Yep.
You'd even think yesterday, you had so many guys in the mix at the start of the day, and he's just like, nah, he's just stiff-arming them all. And then weather comes. Man, did they screw that up, too, the end of that tournament yesterday. How did they not start a little bit earlier and get him finished? Me and Cam got completely burned by Tom Hoagie, who had a flight to New Orleans for the Zurich Classic that he didn't want to miss, and he ended up throwing a 9 up there on the par 4 18th. All in all, though, Cam, we had some pretty good picks at the RBC this week. We did okay.
Hey, man.
In terms of our placements, we did pretty good.
We did. Could have been amazing, but I know you had DeGala second, me post in third. Hoagie was doing great, lots of top we had everybody. Look at Wyndham Clark.
The first round leader.
He went nuts.
The first round leader.
Dude, the first round leader. Oh, dude, when I saw Wyndham Clark start eagle and stuff, I got excited. I'm like, maybe this is it, Carver. But no, Scheffler just too good. The guy's unbelievable. Just quickly, I'm just sitting there going, oh, okay, par bogey, chip in birdie. Nobody does this stuff. I just don't know how he does it. He's like a magician. But anyway, that's amazing.
At least maybe we'll get a break now, right? Because he's not going to play the Zurich, and he's not maybe he'll play the CJ Cup. Who knows? But maybe we at least have a few weeks before. Maybe he'll wait till the PGA Championship, and he'll get slowed down by the middle of May for Scotty Scheffler, who just a dominant. You guys won $16 million in the last 6 weeks, Cam.
Yep.
He's won $16 million.
Flush.
He's won 4 tournaments and $16 million. Very tough to stop. We do have baseball this afternoon. Only one game. All the rest of the games are tonight, which we'll discuss later. But the Yankees and the A's are starting a 4-game series in the Bronx. Little afternoon in New York for the holiday. Get everybody out of there for tonight. Scoreless, Cam. Going to the bottom, or they're in the top of the 8th with 2 outs. So top of the 8th, 2 outs, scoreless. Nothing happening here. J.P. Sears and Roebuck mowing down the Yankees. Carlos Rodon, 7 great innings for the Yanks. I guess the only exciting thing that happened in this game was they threw Aaron Boone out, the second hitter of the game, and he shouldn't have been thrown out. I know you saw that clip, Cam.
Yeah, what is this?
Where the
guy did nothing.
Where Hunter Wendelstadt was giving Boone the business to calm down. A fan in the first row on a quiet day at the stadium, because there's really not a lot of people there, yelled at the ump. The ump thought it was Boone, gave him the gate. That was the only excitement we've had there between the Yankees and the A's.
I got to be honest with you. Boone's a guy, if you're committing a crime, they're going to blame him for everything. He's like, I even as a Blue Jay fan, I'm like, why you kick this guy out of games so much? I know he gets mouthy, but they got issues with this guy, right? Some guys, right, Carver? It seems like the umpires don't like him.
I usually, Cam, I love to hammer Boone any chance that I could get. I got to be fair today. Today was nonsense. Hunter Wendelstadt told him to be quiet. He stood on the top step of the dugout. He's watching the game, and then the guy throws him out for what a fan said in the first row. So as much as I would love to take some more shots at Aaron Boone, I can't do it today because he was completely in the right for that situation. That should not have happened out there at the stadium. A's have the bases loaded now, by the way, in the top of the 8th, as they're going to try to crack through against Ian Hamilton, who's loaded them up. He's in all kinds of trouble out there in the Bronx to see if they can get done. The Yankees are 15-7, Cam, but it feels like they've scored 3 runs in the last 4 days. They've had a lot of problems scoring runs. The Yankees have. So we'll go through all the rest of the baseball slate later in the show. We have tons of games tonight that we will get to. NBA and NHL playoffs. We're going to dive into both of them today, Cam. But as a general thought of the weekend, I just want to give you this. The home teams have won every game so far. Yep. Every single game. All 8 NBA, and then the 6 NHL. And now you had a couple, dogs. I mean, Milwaukee was dog at home. You had a couple of those situations. But home teams ruling in the playoffs, that isn't going to last forever, Cam. Please don't tell me that. That's not going to last.
No. I got to be honest with you. I'm surprised in hockey, too. A lot of the time, the pressure's on the home team. I will say this. I thought the Lightning got a little bit screwed at the end of that game with Stamkos' goal, 10 seconds left. That could have gone to overtime. Your Islanders played well for a while, Carver. My Leafs, the usual. Pepper a goalie, hotter than hell. They got nothing. It's the same old story. We got to win our games tonight, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, in basketball I can see it, but in hockey I used to love going on. Like, you always take the road teams, and tonight I got a feeling we're going to split with the road and home teams tonight in the NHL. I'm going to take a shot with the Islanders and Leafs.
We've got 4 games tonight, Cam. There's 2 things we haven't had yet in the NHL, which you're right is very rare. We haven't had a road team win yet, and we haven't had an overtime game yet through the first 2 days of the NHL playoffs. So I think that there could be, Cam, some plus 300 overtime hunting in the cards for me tonight with some of these games, particularly the 2 East games, as you mentioned, which have already played, got a little feet wet, and we could see those. The West is just starting up tonight with Vegas and Dallas and Edmonton and LA. So we have that, and we have the rest of the NBA for you as well. And the only good game, honestly, only good game in the NBA I thought was the Pelican Thunder game last night.
That was amazing.
That was the
a great
best game of the entire weekend. And that's typical. This was like with the NCAA tournament. The best games of that first weekend were all at midnight on the East Coast. And that happened last night, too. Pelicans and Thunder was the best game all day. And it was late night on a Sunday when everybody was probably tucked away, at least on the East Coast, Cam.
Great call, Carver. And the hockey game, that Winnipeg-Colorado game could have been the craziest playoff hockey game I've seen in years. That was just absolute nuts. That game was insanity.
We will start to get into all of it when we come back. Ferrall Coast to Coast on a Monday. Carver High and Cam for Scotty. We get it rolling right after those.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It's when he swung it easy at 3/4 golf swings, and he pretty much hit his number all the time. Dude, but when he hit something full, he hit it 20 yards over the greens at times. He was like, what are you doing?
He's just smiley, happy, and a freakish athlete golf robot that's going to be right there winning majors for the next 10-plus years. It's amazing.
Did you say he was smiling or smiley?
Only on SportsGrid.
They're still the best. They're still the champs. Everyone wants to crown the Celtics the champions, but that's not the way it works. They got to beat them. And, they got to get through the East, which isn't going to be fun to begin with. Everyone thinks it's so automatic.
If it's just Boris is kind of losing his power, if whatever his tactics have been, move on.
Ferrall Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Talked about the Ohtani story. This interpreter, Ipe, clearly was a problem gambler. I mean, he would be identified as that and beyond. Now, there are a lot of others that are out there.
The timing didn't seem great. It seemed slightly tone deaf in terms of, maybe now isn't the time to say it. But the sentiment itself, you have to agree with. There's only so much a sports betting company can do, right?
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
It's the BetMGM offer of the week. Get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. For all the games, all season long. Come out swinging with picks and parlays and turn any game into a must-watch. Download the BetMGM app, and it's on.
And we are back, Ferrall, coast to coast here on a Monday. Carver High and Cam Stewart in for Scotty on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. Great to have everybody with us here today. Of course, you need to get the new SportsGrid app. That's an absolute must-have. Don't understand why you wouldn't have that already. It's available both at the iOS and the Play Store. You can stay up to speed on all the latest content from your favorite hosts. Watch or listen to us live anytime, anywhere on the app. Track scores and live odds. You can listen to SportsGrid Radio anytime, maybe even Carver and Lisi, weeknights at 8 p.m. East. You could watch SportsGrid anytime right there on the app. You can follow your favorite hosts like the Prime Minister, Cam Stewart. Follow him. Hey. Get all the cuts from Cam on Sports Rage Late Night with Gabe or when he stops by here with us. It's absolutely outstanding. So once again, iOS and the Play Store for the new SportsGrid app. It is smarter to be on SportsGrid. Go to sportsgrid.com/watch to find all the platforms that you can find us on. All right, Cam, we'll start with the NBA here today. We have 3 more Game 2s tonight to get us going, but everybody has one game in the books after Saturday and Sunday. Let's start with what I was saying to you before the break. I thought was the best game of the day by far, and that was the Thunder-Pelican game in Oklahoma City last night. 94-92 was the final for OKC. And Cam, this sequence at the end, and OKC had a lead in this game. Pelicans fought back, got the game tied, but late, under a minute to go, the block from Chet Holmgren setting up the go-ahead bucket for good from SGA on TNT.
It's McCollum. Pick and roll action, Nance. Inside, extends Holmgren, turns him back. 5th block for the rookie sensation, Holmgren. And it's Williams against McCollum. Gilgeous-Alexander guarded by McCollum. Chisels into the paint, flicks it up and in, and contact.
28 points, Cam, for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in that win for the Thunder, who hold on. Bit of a rock fight that game, too. Both teams getting under 100 points, way under the total. And for me, Cam, what it kind of showed was the Thunder are a young team. They're the 1 seed. They were the best team in the West this year. I get all of that. But they're a young team, Cam, that doesn't have a lot of playoff experience. They're not used to these situations. And on the other side, New Orleans, even though they haven't been some power, they've played in some of these games now the last few years. You know, taking Phoenix to that long series a couple years back. They've played in a bunch of play-in games. McCollum's got a lot of experience, Valanciunas, etc. That's why I think even though the Thunder will win this series, I feel like we're going to see more games like last night than we're going to see otherwise. I think you're going to get close, tight games in this series.
Excellent point, Carver. That's what I'm saying. I think OKC will get through, but it's not going to be easy. I think the Pelicans are going to win a few games. They're going to cover big numbers, like taking the big numbers on the road. And you said it. This is the thing. These guys have been playing playoff-style basketball all the way down the stretch, and I like the players that they have on their team. I think this series is going to be an absolute war. I love SGA. He's amazing and all those guys, but I'll tell you, that the Pelicans, man, they are tough. They're a very tough team. And Carver, I agree with you 100%. These guys, I'm going to be betting them against the spread almost every game.
Yeah, they've been good so far, that's for sure. And they got a little bit of momentum now. They'll play game 2 coming up in OKC in the next, and I believe that one's tomorrow, Cam, or Wednesday night. They're going to play that one. The Bucks beat the Pacers 109-94. Me and you and many others sat here previewing this series Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, saying, no Giannis for the Bucks. They've looked awful for 4 months. There's no way Indiana beat them up all year long. Almost every game they played them. Well, Cam, this is why they play the games. Damian Lillard, who was basically like asleep for the last 3.5 months of the regular season, well, he woke up in a big way in the first game of the playoffs on TNT.
Lillard has put up 29 points in the first half. Off balance. He's got it! And the foul! Unstoppable! Damian Lillard!
Dame Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game. I'm sure you saw some of the slips being floated around last night throughout social media of people who either in-game bet Damian Lillard at numbers like 35 and a half. For him to then not get another point in the second half. You had somebody like Joe Lisi who had him to score 50, and he had 35 in the first half and didn't finish the job. But I guess maybe Dame time was just he was just waiting for the playoffs, Cam. That's it. We're just waiting for that.
You got it, Carver. Another thing, hey, Indiana, don't go down like 30 points in a game. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, when you start like that, you're done. You're already like that. You cannot do that. It's kind of like we talked about with the hockey game. You're down a couple goals early. It's like, man, you're done. They came back. They tried to grind, but it was too many points. And you said it, Lillard's, it's playoff Dame time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad, bad, bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost. I thought Indiana would win this game outright. Man, was I wrong.
I played the crazy Indiana game one, Indiana for the series parlay too. I did that with a couple of them this weekend, and Indiana let me down. I'm still gonna go after the Bucks though, Cam. I ain't done.
Me too.
It's one game. I'm still gonna go after them here. Hopefully, Indiana gives you a little bit of a response. I actually have a Dame time for you. We'll play when we come back, and then we'll finish up yesterday's games, including wins by the Clippers, also a blowout win over the Mavericks, who did not show up in Los Angeles whatsoever. And the Celtics did to the Heat what I guess everyone is expecting the Celtics to do to the Heat in 4 games here in this first round. Ferrall Coast to Coast on a Monday. Carver High and Cam Stewart in for Scotty on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. We keep it rolling right after this.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
You're not going to get the Tiger Woods size audience. Because do you know where they went? They went to Caitlin Clark. That's where those people went. What? Those people are now going to the WNBA. Yeah. The fan that only watches what's hot, the fan, the casual who doesn't really like sports but likes to be involved in the in thing, they're watching
cooler discussion.
They're watching Caitlin Clark.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
So I turned it off. I got my sweat done, and I'm leaving. I'm taking my money. I'm going home, and I don't want to talk to you the rest.
Oh, yes!
There it is.
6-3. Catch the over. The over is hit. The Padres are our heroes.
That's how we end the show. That's how we end the show.
Oh, what? Let's just sign off. Let's just call it a show.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
He just tossed an air ball, like in a critical. You're up by 2 with 20 seconds left. He said, give me the ball, LeBron James. He tossed an air ball, and there was AD under the bucket fighting everybody, and he ends up going to the free throw line. They used Tavares as a friggin' pinata tonight. Dude, I know you're old, but get it together. This is your last run at something, man. This is your career, bro. Don't go out like this. Oh, it's hard watching this.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back for Coast to Coast on a Monday. Carver High and Cam Stewart in for Scotty on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. Great to have everybody with us here today. All right, Cam, I want to finish with this because I wanted to play a little Dame time from the podium last night. And it basically they just asked him, like, you haven't been to playoffs in the last 2 years, kind of sleepwalking the last couple months. Obviously, the alarm went off. It was time to go for Dame time. Here he is.
The last 2 years not being in the playoffs, it was, it sucked. I was early vacations. Last year, I went to Coachella. Like, I ain't never been able to go to Coachella. Like,
so do I.
Coachella playoffs every year.
Yeah,
Coachella.
So just having that long summer, it was like, man, I was over that. But being able to be in a playoff series on a championship team and a championship organization, knowing that we got an opportunity for it, I think that was the thing that I was looking forward to most.
There you go. And look, he's dangerous, Cam. There's no doubt about that. He's Damian Lillard. He's Dame time for a reason. I just think it's cute how he was awful for the last 3 months and shows up in game 1 and lights the place up for a half. It's just that's what gets me all fired up about it. That's all.
You know what it is, though, Carver? That's what it is. A big-time player show up in the playoffs. It's almost like sleepwalking through everything, and we'll talk about it in hockey later on. Like, you look at Vegas, and here comes Mark Stone. He's probably going to have a huge night tonight, too. Has he? The cheaters? These guys.
That's
a story for another day.
An NHL playoff tradition, unlike any other. Vegas getting basically a whole new line together for the playoffs every year.
We're back. Healthy.
Suddenly he's fine.
Fresh.
Oh, look. Yeah. By the way, Stone's cleared to play. He's cleared to practice. He's cleared for contact. Oh, okay. I'm sure he was about 6 weeks ago, probably. But we just kept him under the cupboard for a little while. Clippers beat the Mavs 109-97. The Mavs got their doors blown off in this game, Cam, absolutely from the jump. A gutless effort from Dallas as they'll now need to respond down a game. George had 22 for the Clippers. Harden had 28, but I thought, Cam, it was Zubac who had the big game for them down low because he was dominating, and the Dallas doesn't have a lot of guys down there. They had Galford and foul trouble early. Zubac had 20 and 15. Paul George agrees with me, Cam. He says that Zubac was the big reason for their win.
Yeah, very proud of Zoo. Zoo can go dominate every night. I thought he, understood his presence, and he was awesome. He was awesome. He was a straight bucket when we threw it to him.
Straight bucket.
He was controlling the paint. And, we're going to be very good, anytime Zoo is playing at that level. I just thought he dominated tonight.
He did. Child. Actually, I was going to mention that, Cam. Usually... When you let me bring the kids to the podium, you usually don't get them to sit there and actually let you do your work and talk
they
to
the microphone, they touch it, they lick it.
It was right in the mix there. He's good to go. They'll play game 2 tomorrow night in Los Angeles. I've got series odds for you in a moment. Finally, yesterday, Celtics, no problem whatsoever with the Heat, 114-94. It did get a little, I guess you could say, chippy at the end, Cam, as Jason Tatum was getting thrown around a bit. We know the Heat are a very physical team. They knew they were going to lose. Maybe, I don't know if you want to say sending a message. I think it was just a hard play. And Tatum kind of feels the same way, but he knows that you got to be physical out there against them.
Just understand it's playoff basketball, right? It's a physical game, playing against a physical team. It's going to happen.
Whoa.
It's not the last time I'm probably going to get hit like that or fouled in this series. So, I wasn't hurt. You get hit like that, just get up. And I knew he was in the bonus, so go down there and knock the free throws down.
That hit actually that Martin laid out on him, Cam, in the last 5, that was actually better than most of the hits in the NHL games yesterday. He gave a pretty good shot. He gave a pretty good shot going down to the ground, but that's what they need to do, right? Because they're outclassed here, Cam. Let's just call it like it is. They don't got Butler. They don't got Rozier. They're going to try to mix it up with them. They're going to get it dirty. That's kind of the only way that they're going to go about this, so I can understand what they're trying to do.
Oh, I understand what they're trying to do. They're toast anyway, so you might as well go down fighting.
They're going to get smoked.
That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely smoked. It's their problem. And after watching yesterday, I'm not sure they win a game. I'm not sure they're going to get one done without any of those guys in the mix. All right, we'll come back, Cam. And I have some series odds for you. And then we have to get to tonight. 3 games tonight. Game 2's in the NBA. We're back coast to coast right after this.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
You're not going to get the Tiger Woods size audience. But do you know where they went? They went to Caitlin Clark. That's where those people went. What? Those people are now going to the WNBA. Yeah. The fan that only watches what's hot, the fan, the casual who doesn't really like sports but likes to be involved in the in thing, they're watching
cooler discussion.
They're watching Caitlin Clark.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
So I turned it off. I got my sweat done, and I'm leaving. I'm taking my money. I'm going home, and I don't want to talk to you the rest.
Oh, yes!
There it is.
6-3. Catch the over. The over is hit. The Padres are our heroes.
That's how we end the show. That's how we end the show.
Oh, what? Let's just sign off. Let's just call it a show.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
He just tossed an air ball, like in a critical. You're up by 2 with 20 seconds left. He said, give me the ball. LeBron James. He tossed an air ball. And there was AD under the bucket fighting everybody. And he ends up going to the free throw line. They used Tavares as a friggin' pinata tonight. Dude, I know you're old, but get it together. This is your last run at something, man. This is your career, bro. Don't go out like this. Oh, it's hard watching this.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back for El Coast to Coast here on a Monday. Carver High and Cam Stewart in for Scotty on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. Great to have everybody with us here today. All right, Cam, let me give you a couple of things here. I want to get to tonight's games, but first, in fact, I want to give you the series odds. I'm going to flip myself around here a little bit in this top portion, and because I'll just talk about what these teams did over the weekend when we get to their games tonight. I want to give you Dallas and the Clippers first. This is for the series now that the Clips are up a game. They go to minus 150. Cam, Mavericks are now plus $1.25. They were, of course, favorites before the series. Now this flips after LA takes the 1-0 lead at home with a game 2 tomorrow night. I wasn't very encouraged by what I saw from Dallas, Cam, but I'm willing. If I was willing to go in with them before the game, I think one game shouldn't be enough to completely deter you. So I would have no problem going back in maybe one more time with plus 125.
I agree, Carver, but I got to be honest with you. I want a little bit more. That seems light at plus 125, right? You know what I mean? It's one of those things. I know it flipped, but can you give me $1.40? Can you give me something we can work with here? After what I saw, I'm on Dallas too, buddy, in the series, but I was hoping for a little bit more. That seems light to me, but hey, it's light for a reason. They expect Dallas to take care of business on their home floor.
I guess one thing we could say is, Cam, is that we're always looking for a little bit more. Me, you, Joe Lisi. We always want a little bit more in these situations. We want to be fed a little bit more. The Indiana and Milwaukee series now, after the Bucks win Game 1 at home, minus 225 for Milwaukee. Indiana goes to plus 185, which really, Cam, is kind of what they were way last week. Before you got into, Giannis is going to miss the first couple games, and the series price started to change a lot. Now, that's a big difference from what we just saw there with Dallas, obviously. Plus 185 for Indiana. How you feeling about that for maybe a double dip?
I feel a lot better about plus 185 with Indiana. Say Lillard goes cold. It was a horrible game by the Pacers. They got down early. I think they can regroup, Carver. That's a good price. We're almost getting 2-1. That's something I can deal with. That's a nice number. I will double dip there.
There you go. One more I have for you because these teams are not playing tonight. We did not talk about them yet. was this Phoenix and Minnesota series. So the T-Wolves beat them in game 1 on Saturday, 120-95. Big night from Anthony Edwards, who had 33 points. We told you too, Cam, about that. He had 4 threes, by the way. You know I'm keeping track of that. O'Neal had 4 threes, and Alexander had 4 threes. So he's tied for the lead after one game. We want to get that plus 500 Anthony Edwards bet home. They are now minus 160, Suns plus $135, as they will get ready to play game 2. I believe they're tomorrow night as well. Yes, they are, Cam. They're tomorrow night, too, for their game 2.
I'm on Minnesota. I think you are too, Carver. There's nothing we need to do with this series. It's actually a pretty good price. They won the first game, and I'm happy where I stand with the Minnesota Timberwolves in this series.
Not going to lie, I did Minnesota to win game 1 and Phoenix to win the series, which I think was plus 4 or something, right in that area. And I kind of regret it, Cam. I like the way Minnesota looked on Saturday. I know it's one game, but Minnesota looked like they're gonna be involved here. And I thought the Suns would give you a much better effort in the first game. You did not get that from them. Tomorrow night will tell the tale, that's for sure. I will completely jump off the Sun bus, at least for the first round, if they get smashed again. But I did not like the way the Suns kind of quit, to be quite honest with you, in the second half of that game against Minnesota on Saturday afternoon. All right, we will start to get into tonight now, and we'll kind of talk about what these teams did over the weekend as we go through it. Orlando and Cleveland, Cavs beat them on Saturday, Cam, 97-83 was the score there. Magic weren't, it was kind of one of those games, Cam, where it was like 5 points and they get it back to 3, then it would go to 8, they'd get it to 5, back to 8, back to 5. They just could never get that little push to put themselves past them, and then the Cavs just extend early in that fourth quarter, and Orlando really just never got anything going.
The thing is, I know you have that Orlando win first game Cleveland series. I got Cleveland series in a parlay. So here's the thing. Know what it is, Carver, though? I almost think it's almost funny. I wish we could pick game 1 or 2 because Orlando's going to show up tonight, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a game where this one comes down to the wire. I think they're going to cover the spread. I don't know if they're going to win. It's a very low number, but I'm going to take Orlando. I know game 1, it wasn't great, but I got to tell you, these guys understand going down 0-2, that's not good for business. I think they show up tonight. I think it's a grind-them-out game, and I would not be shocked if they won. I will definitely take the points.
Which is 5.5 here for tonight, Cam. So 5.5 for the Magic.
I'll take it.
203.5, and that's something else we haven't really mentioned yet here.
Total.
Under Central so far in these first games on Saturday and Sunday. Tons of unders, along with all the home teams winning. So at 203, I mean, come on, Cam, 203.5, and they didn't even sniff it on Saturday. Nope. I mean, they didn't even sniff that number. What would they get to 180 right around there? So
it's like old school basketball, Carver, that we grew up on. Like Knicks 83, Celtics 78. Like this is what we grew up on. Dirty basketball, way under. Like I haven't seen NBA totals like this in years. This is nuts.
Yeah, I kind of want to go after this one tonight, to be quite honest with you, because it's so low. But I just have a feeling that they're going to give a little bit more effort tonight. I'm with you with Orlando tonight. I'll take the 5.5 with Orlando, Cam, and I think that I'm going to go after that 203.5 as well. We do have player props for that game as well tonight. These are the most bet player props at BetMGM for the Cavs and the Magic. Jared Allen over 11.5 boards. Darius Garland over 15.5 points. Donovan Mitchell over 4.5 assists. Franz Wagner over 3.5 assists. And Evan Mobley under the 14.5 points. The most bet player props for tonight. I kind of like Garland tonight too, Cam, to go over the 15.5.
I agree with that.
I like Garland's threes tonight too as well. I'm going to take Garland with the threes.
I take a shot at Wagner with over 3.5 assists. We got to have somebody. If we like Orlando, we need somebody with Orlando there, Carver. Somebody's got to step up and score some buckets tonight. But I agree with you on Garland.
Yeah, Garland's threes. I was going to see what they have the bet here quickly while we have a moment, Cam. I was going to see what they have Garland for. For the threes for Garland tonight, over 2.5 at plus 110.
I'm sold.
So over 2.5 for threes for plus 110. Wagner's over 1.5, by the way, for even money. for the Magic. If you want to do threes for him as well, I like playing the threes, Cam. That's kind of where I like to live.
That's your game, Carver. It works for you.
That's my game. Love the threes.
Yep.
Threes is where I'm at, baby. So there you go. Magic and Cavs, game number 2 tonight in Cleveland. The Knicks and the Sixers will play game number 2 tonight at the Garden as well. Let's talk about Saturday first, Cam, before we get to tonight. A game of runs, right? It was a strange game. The Sixers came out, had about a 10, 12-point lead. Knicks blew them away in the second quarter. They went up 10 or 12. Sixers then came all the way back in the third quarter, took a lead back, and then the Knicks were able to finally close them down in the fourth quarter with, honestly, Cam, not even really getting much from Brunson or DiVincenzo, guys that normally score a ton of points for them. It was pretty quiet, but they were able to hold the Sixers down in the fourth.
I think they can again. The thing about the Knicks is they can play some good defense. They got some guys who understand what they need to do to shut down guys. Philadelphia, a little bit banged up too, Carver. It's a concern. That's the thing with the team with Embiid. We never know when he's going to be hurt, how hurt he is. So I think the Knicks have a significant advantage. I will say this. I like the under in this basketball game tonight. You want to talk about a low total of 205? I've already bet it. Got it at 205.5 when I woke up.
I will give you that when we come back. I've got a little update from Nick Nurse as well on Embiid, who did leave that game for a little while. Looked like maybe it was a lower body issue. Then it looked like he had an eye issue. Embiid's always got a lot of issues. We'll see what Nurse says about tonight when we come back. Ferrall Coast to Coast. We're back after this.
Multiple issues.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
You're not going to get the Tiger Woods size audience because you know where they went? They went to Caitlin Clark. That's where those people went. What? Those people are now going to the WNBA. Yeah, the fan that only watches what's hot, the casual who doesn't really like sports but likes to be involved in the in thing. They're watching
cooler discussion.
They're watching Caitlin Clark.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
So I turned it off. I got my sweat done, and I'm leaving. I'm taking my money. I'm going home, and I don't want to talk to you for the rest.
Oh, yes!
There it is.
6-3. Catch the over. The over is hit. The Padres are our heroes.
That's how we end the show.
Oh, what? Let's just sign off. Let's just call it a show.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
He just tossed an air ball, like in a critical. You're up by 2 with 20 seconds left. He said, give me the ball, LeBron James. He tossed an air ball. And there was AD under the bucket fighting everybody, and he ends up going to the free throw line. They used Tavares as a friggin' pinata tonight. Dude, I know you're old, but get it together. This is your last run at something, man. This is your career, bro. Don't go out like this. Oh, it was hard watching this.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back for El Coast to Coast here on a Monday. Carver High and Cam Stewart in for Scotty on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. Great to have everybody with us here today. Scotty will be back tomorrow from the Little 500, and he'll be with us for the rest of the week. As of course, we got the NFL Draft coming up on Thursday night. A very busy week, playoffs going on, etc. SportsGrid's got you covered with that, as we know, with the draft specials on Thursday and Friday night here on the grid. Of course, I want to tell you BetMGM, they've done it again. This time, they have come up with a new market. Get this, new market that you can only get exclusively on BetMGM for the NHL playoffs. And what is that? BetMGM will have empty net goal markets up for entire slates as well as specific games. These can be found in the app under the NHL tab and then under the props tab. Ooh. You can also find the specific game markets under each game along with the NHL props tab. Go to BetMGM, go to your BetMGM app or BetMGM.com to find them and get involved as you see them right there where you would go to play the empty net promo. Again, full slates or individual games you could go and do this for only at BetMGM just in time for the NHL playoffs, which as we know is outstanding. And BetMGM always getting you ready to go for that. Cam, I love that.
I want to get involved. Like I'm excited now, Carver. Hold on here. We could have a guy. We could literally in one game say it's 2-1, 3-1. Let's keep the goalie out. You can get it in one game. I don't mind laying 45 cents. That's a great. That's a good bet. I'm good. Down with
good
the
ones there. I actually think I like that. You can play that and the overtime every night, right? In every game, right? Can't play the empty net, play the overtime. One hopefully will come through for you, and you keep moving along. So there's a lot of things you can do. That's a fun market for the empty net goals in the NHL playoffs. All right, Knicks and the Sixers, as we were talking about before the break. Game 2 at the Garden tonight. So what's going on with Joel Embiid? Left for a little while, did come back and play in the second half, holding his eye quite a bit as well towards the end of the game. Will Nick Nurse give us any information? Probably not. Here we go.
How's Joel's leg doing today?
Pretty good, I think. I'm going to ask him how he's feeling. He said, pretty good.
Nick, pretty good. We're going to talk about the knee, but he also took a pretty good shot in the eye. He kept in the game, stayed in the game, but he kept, touching his eye.
Nick's looking at him like, I'm not going to tell you.
He had sunglasses on.
I know that.
Same thing today, leaving here. I mean, how is his eye? Did he fracture it or anything again? Because that's the same. He's fine.
2020.
Okay.
2020.
He's fine. He only held it the entire end of the game and has been walking around in sunglasses for the last 2 days. But he's fine. You don't got anything to worry about with his eye.
Don't mind the blue blockers. Don't mind. Everything's
probably going to come out tonight in the old goggles, Cam. Oh, don't worry about it. No, that's just fine. He's nothing wrong. Listen, I get it. It's playoff time. You don't want to divulge too much information, Cam, but it's tough for us because, again, we're talking about one of the guys who gets bet on the most, right? Joel Embiid is a big, not just player props, but the game itself. You need information on these guys and just say, oh, yeah, he's fine. He's fine. He's been walking around New York with sunglasses for 2 days, but he's fine. Don't worry about it. It's frustrating, Cam, and it makes you stay away from him. I will have nothing to do with Joel Embiid tonight.
I don't know how you feel about this game.
Nothing.
But I think it's going to be a defensive struggle. I like the under in this basketball game. I know it, and I know it's low, but that's my bet.
It's down to 204.5, Cam. Gone down even more. It's getting into Magic Cavalier territory here with this Nick 76er game.
Yeah, I got 205.5. I hope I got the right side. I got the right side of the number. Let's just hope it comes in. I don't know how you feel about the spread, but I expect a tight game tonight. I don't care.
5.5 is
where
the spread is at
I think the Knicks probably win by between 1 and 5. For me, I'd probably. It's a middle job.
I would take the points with the Sixers tonight.
Me too.
Garden. I would take the 5.5 with the Sixers. I'm not as they for them to play that high of a total game for them the other night and then it be set back down at 204. It's probably an under, Cam, like you say. And I think for the Sixers to win the game or be within that number, it's probably got to be under as well, right?
Yeah.
This is the kind of game you want, 93, 890. You want the game in that kind of a ballpark to be able to catch that 5.5. This thing sails over. It probably means the Knicks are winning by 7 to 15 points, Cam, or even the Sixers maybe are blowing them out one way or the other. You want a nice, close, tight game. You get that under, and you probably get the 5.5 to go along with it as well. The most bet player props for tonight. Is anybody like me going to stay away from Joel Embiid with all of the who knows? Oh, he's all right. He's okay. Brunson over 30.5 points. He had 22 the other night. Tobias Harris over 11.5 points. How could anyone bet Tobias Harris over 11.5 points after watching him in game one? That is baffling to me. Mitchell Robinson over 13.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Josh Hart over 1.5 3-pointers. That's a plus 135 for you, Cam. And Embiid under 10.5 boards. So the under 10.5 boards for Embiid. That was the only one that was on our most bet board.
You got the Stones, Carver, under 10.5 with Embiid. What do you think? I like that Hart play. I like the plus money. Give me 2 threes.
I like the Hart play. I actually like. I'm going to look for maybe some Hart double numbers tonight if I could find any. I know that's sometimes a coach special. I'll have to ask Coach if he's seen that floating around to see what the number is. But I don't mind going to anything to Hart tonight. And I think DiVincenzo, after a very off night on Saturday, I think that he's going to come back out with a little bit of spice tonight. So I don't know where they probably have his number jacked up pretty high. Over 3.5 at even money.
Wow.
DiVincenzo for me tonight, Cam. That's where I'm going for this game.
That number tells you.
Props.
That number tells you. Like they're posting a big one. That's saying take the over, buddy.
I just don't expect him to shoot. I mean, he didn't even take that many. He was only 2 for 5 from 3 on Saturday night, and he usually shoots a lot more than that. So we'll keep our eyes on that. I'm going to play DiVincenzo to bust out a little bit in this one. All right, Ferrall, coast to coast here on a Monday. Carver High and Cam Stewart in for Scotty. We'll come back. Lakers Nuggets tonight as well. We will discuss.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
You're not going to get the Tiger Woods size audience. Because do you know where they went? They went to Caitlin Clark. That's where those people went. What? Those people are now going to the WNBA. Yeah. The fan that only watches what's hot, the fan, the casual who doesn't really like sports but likes to be involved in the in thing, they're watching
cooler discussion.
They're watching Caitlin Clark.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
So I turned it off. I got my sweat done, and I'm leaving. Taking my money. I'm going home, and I don't want to talk to you for the rest.
Oh, yes!
There it is.
6-3. Catch the over. The over is hit. The Padres are our heroes.
That's how we end the show. That's how we end the show.
Oh, well, let's just sign off. Let's just call it a show.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
He just tossed an air ball, like in a critical. You're up by 2 with 20 seconds left. He said, give me the ball, LeBron James. He tossed an air ball. And there was AD under the bucket fighting everybody, and he ends up going to the free throw line.
They used Tavares as a friggin' pinata tonight. Dude, I know you're old, but get it together. This is your last run at something, man. This is your career, bro. Don't go out like this. Oh, it's hard watching this.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back for El Coast to Coast on a Monday. Carver High and Cam Stewart in for Scotty on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. Great to have you with us. Nuggets beat the Lakers, Cam, Saturday night in that game one in Denver, 114-103, so they covered the number as well. You had a big night from Joker. When doesn't he have a big night? 32-12. You had Murray with 22 and 10 assists. AD did have 32 for the Lakers, but all for naught. So this has become a pattern now, Cam. They swept them last year in the playoffs.
Yep.
They swept them in the regular season. They beat them the first game of this series. Is this like deja vu all over again for LeBron? Let's hear what he says.
Given his team's recent history with Denver, how do you fight the feeling of here we go again?
For me? Or are you talking about, I don't, that doesn't matter to me. I don't ever get into here we go again mindset.
Who's on first?
You know, it's one game. They protected their home court. We have another opportunity on Monday to come back and be better. We know how challenging it's going to be. We know how difficult this opponent is and how great they are. So that's all a part of the game. Start doubting you. I don't get into the doubt mindset. That's not me. I'm the wrong guy to ask.
He never gets into doubt, Cam. Never. You can't do that with
Never.
LeBron. Never gets into doubt for him. Same numbers, right? 7.5.
Yep.
Same number as Saturday night. It's nice to see a total that isn't underneath 210 here. It's 223.5. So that's a good thing to see in terms of maybe we get some points. I don't know. I know everybody was high on the Lakers going into this series, and maybe they do some different things. And I still think, Cam, maybe they get a game or two at home. I thought that they could get 2 games in this series, but I think Denver's going to clean them out again tonight. I think they're going to clean them out. I think this game will be unwatchable in the fourth quarter. You won't even maybe watching it.
I got to be honest with you, too. That 7.5, it's very enticing, but you saw what happened last time. No way, no how. For me, it's the Denver Nuggets or nothing. Parlay piece, whatever you want to do with it. They're going to win this damn game. And Carver, I agree with you. I think they're going to win by like 15 points. So that's what I got. It's Nuggets for me. Lean to the over.
And look, they didn't do that the other night. Lakers were in the game for 3 quarters.
They were.
Lakers were, and that was with, Russell. He's just missed another 3 from Saturday night. He missed so many threes. But I just don't see it tonight. You know, they got 32 from Davis and 27 from LeBron, and they still lost by 10 plus. Like, it's just that. I think Denver is just so much better than them, Cam, that I can't get past that. And I still don't think people give Denver the proper amount of respect that maybe they deserve. Everybody's got the Celtics as the favorite, and I know Denver's right behind them. That should be flipped. Denver should be the favorite for everything.
I agree.
They're the defending champs, and they're
amazing.
And they beat everybody. I just don't, they take care of business. Here's the player props for tonight for you. Reeves, 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists for the over. Porter Jr. over 22.5 points, rebounds, assists. Jamal Murray over 7.5 assists. He blew through that the other night. Porter Jr. again over 6.5 rebounds. Heavy juice there. And D'Angelo Russell over 15.5 points at minus 135. It'd be nice if he hit some threes tonight. Now, that's another one, Cam. It's kind of like DiVincenzo. This guy missed a ton of threes the other night. And the number's 2.5 at minus 145. I'd actually alt that to, let's see what they got for 4 plus 200 for 4 threes. I would take that.
Carver.
With
Carver and Lisi. You have plus. More.
I can't. Well, Joe, come on, Cam. Why play minus 145 when I can play plus
You're
2
right.
bills for 4?
You're right. You're right. No,
Let's go.
I understand. I also like attacking guys that didn't do it the first time, because you know what I mean? Water finds its level, we used to say, and if a guy struggles, a shooter struggles, shooters got to shoot, and they're going to keep on trying. So I'm with you. I like that play a lot. I don't like the juice on the Porter play, but that should win. Maybe alt that.
Yeah, Porter probably get in there. Like I said, even though I'm going to take that D'Angelo Russell threes, I still think they're going to get cleaned out in this game. I'm going to lay it at 7.5 with Denver. We get an over, though, Cam? Can we actually get over 223.5? Can we take the over?
I'm going to play an over. And I usually I like a couple unders, but I'm playing an over tonight. This game goes over. Don't you think, Carver? Can't we get an over?
I hope so. I mean, I'm looking at all these other games at 203.5, 204.5. I'm trying to grasp to something, Cam, to give us some over tonight in the NBA. I don't want everything to be a rock fight. Give me one game with people scoring. All right, we'll come back. We'll come back with hour 2. We'll get into the hockey next hour. We got Coach and Davis as well. Ferrall coast to coast on a Monday. Carver High and Cam Stewart in for Scotty. We're back on the grid right after this.